following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of WWE Survivor Series War Games 2023. Bro, this was huge, juicy boy. Allstate Arena,
man.
Illinois, Chicago.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely going to go down. I'm Juicy Boy, by the way. Yeah, it's definitely going to go down as a controversial Survivor Series, possibly one of the most controversial ones in a long time. It's already got a hugely divided opinion about what happens at the end. In my opinion, though, before we even get into it, I reckon as a pay-per-view, take all the controversial shit aside for a second and just look at the pay-per-view on its own, bell to bell. I thought it was a hell of a show. Better than Full Gear, but
way better.
Yeah,
they didn't burn us the fuck out. Anyway,
so yeah, all jokes aside, though, I did enjoy the show.
Certainly.
Shut up, man, with your stupid little voices and
certainly.
Shit. Just do the fucking
you
review.
Shut up. Why don't you shut up? Why don't you shut up? It's like 20 past 9 at night now. Okay. Oh, by the way, everyone, I'm California, but you already know that because, I've got a nameplate down there.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Bro, okay. All right. So, War Games. It's back, baby. Again, though, we have touched on this before. What did you think still doing the 2 War Games matches? Do you think that's a bit much?
Yeah, I still do. I have good things to say about both War Games matches on this edition of Survivor Series, but nonetheless, my point still stands. I feel very firmly that there should only be one War Games match, and just the same, one Hell in a Cell match when they do Hell in a Cell, one TLC match, and then they should alternate between the divisions. So if they wanted to do the Women's War Games this year, then they should have had the men compete in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series, or vice versa, do the 5-on-5 with the women and the War Games for the men. That way you don't discriminate against any one division based on gender, but also you're not overloading people because, yes, they bookended the show with the matches, and I think that was a smart move as well. But I also think that having 2 of the matches takes away the luster. It would be almost like if at WrestleMania 17, they had the TLC match and then, like, I don't know, Molly Holly and Chyna or something like that had a TLC match later on in the show for the women's title, which back at that time, something like that would just be impossible to think of them doing. But now they do it as a matter of course.
Of course.
That we get one for the males, so we're going to get one for the women as well, or vice versa. I really think they should split it.
Yeah, well, I mean, because now that they're doing this, we don't get any more traditional Survivor Series matches ever again, do we?
We haven't.
Surely.
We haven't even before they brought the War Games back, though. That's another thing that we should touch on briefly. Like, you're right. Even before they brought the War Games back, they stopped doing the 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches with regularity after about like 2007.
Yeah.
And then for a while, they created that other pay-per-view called Bragging Rights, which was essentially the same concept as Survivor Series, but just whittled down to SmackDown versus Raw. And they would literally just artificially, everyone would start caring about which show they were on, even though people frequently appeared on both. And then they would do this Bragging Rights match. And that was essentially Survivor Series matches. I don't know why they felt the need to do that and why, because at the same time they were still doing the Survivor Series, but they just wouldn't put those 5-on-5 matches on there. Now we've evolved again. We're in a new era. Survivor Series has these War Games matches, still not the traditional 5-on-5. It's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think one of each would be fine. But anyway, let's get on with this review. Oh, yeah, and I was going to make that point. My issue with the 2 War Games matches is that they have to shoehorn They have to do some shoehorning in order to make one of the matches or both matches make sense, just because the pay-per-view happens to be coming up, like what they would do with Hell in a Cell. Like, it's just so happens that the pay-per-views come up. So now we have to try and force this to be, okay, an issue with all these these two groups of people that are being put together. That's my main problem with it. Not only that, also the fact that they're both two very long matches. Anyway, the first one here, the ladies' War Games match: Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi taking on Asuka, Bayley, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane, with Dakota Kai at ringside. Juicy Boy, take it away.
Dude, there's not even a ton of notes to say about this. Like, obviously, because I'm not necessarily a fan of having two, it's always sort of like you're hoping that you don't get drained out going into the first one of these. And honestly, I thought the ladies absolutely knocked it out of the park. I thought that this started the show off on a great tone. I felt like everyone in the match just had an energy and like there was a fire behind everything that was going on. And yes, it's a little flimsily thrown together having all these baby faces because on Bianca Belair's team, it's all people that have feuded against each other and had a lot of matches against each other, and they're not exactly allies within kayfabe. But they did a good job of the commentators throughout the pay-per-view did a good job of threading all that stuff together. Now that they're allowed to just be a little bit more natural these days, so they did a good job. But yeah, even though it was the babyface team was kind of thrown together, I think Damage Control does such a great job as this unit, this really annoying faction, this heel faction of women that are really wily and cunning and they're like the female version of the pit bulls. Like, they're just relentless. And I felt like that dynamic just played beautifully in this women's War Games match. Obviously, trash can on the head, cross body off the top. Cool spot. Have to point it out. Everyone just stood there for ages in a cluster and just waited. There has to be. I'm not saying that you don't need people to land on. You've got to have people there to land, pushing the landing. But they've got to figure out some way to whether shoot it or actually perform it in a way where it doesn't look so obvious. Same thing applied for the moonsault off the cage later on by Charlotte Flair. Yeah. Beautifully executed on her part, but everyone's just standing there, and it's so clear that they don't want to fully commit to doing anything against each other because they want to be in position when the dive comes. But so they're just half wrestling, half watching, waiting for the dive.
I hate that.
So yeah, that's really my only nitpick about the match, but I actually gave it a B+. I thought that it was a tremendous match. And it really got me more into it than I expected to be, and started things off on the right note.
Fuck yeah, bro. That's fucking sick, man.
Yeah, dude, I fucking think so. Yeah,
Oh, by the way, Ruffles is sponsoring this match.
Yeah, so that was sick as well. I loved it that Ruffles was sponsoring it.
Oh, did you? You loved it? You actually loved it?
Because
I thought it was cool. I mean, I didn't love it.
No, I loved it because, I'm a big stoner and it's very much a stoner food.
Congratulations, bro. Very good. I liked Dakota Kai and her involvement. Both times she got involved, clever moments. Becky had a disarmer locked in on Bayley, and she just got like jabbed in the spine with a kendo stick, which ended up, being a reason to insert it into the match as, got yanked out of her hands. But I also liked the part where they had to figure out a way for Io Sky to get that trash can up there because she's not gonna be able to climb with it. So the fact that like they had a chain and like almost like a fishing line to pull that trash can up was awesome. And man, I started laughing so much when she just hopped off and just kind of this floating trash can with legs hanging out. It made me laugh. It was fucking cool, to be honest with you, despite the obvious waiting around for everyone to catch her. I feel like Damage Control should have won. Just because Kairi Sane just came in and, if you're putting them together as a group with maybe Asuka being in the group now as well, I think, the first outing as a team, if the Judgment Day are going to be losing later, I would have thought that maybe the heels should have gone over here. Just to establish them that, bringing in Kairi, Sane, and Asuka into the fold was a smart idea and that it's going to work. But if the first outing they lose, then okay, what is that telling us about this combination? But I have a feeling Asuka might not stay in the group. I don't know why, just a feeling.
She's
don't really
popular.
Have much else
She's
to say though.
popular in her own right, yeah.
I wasn't really too chuffed with the manhandle slam off the second rope through a table on Bayley, but that's because I've never been a fan of the manhandle slam. I don't think Becky should be using that as a finisher because she doesn't, a rock bottom. Yeah, it was all right for the Rock to do it because he was built, but like, I don't know. Every time she hits it, it comes across a little weak. If Rhea Ripley did a rock bottom, okay. Now we're talking. So let's move forward, bro. Sami Zayn, Jey Uso backstage talking. Sami's stressed because Randy Orton hasn't shown up yet. So having Randy back is definitely a shot to the arm of WWE. Let's get to the next matchup, though. Intercontinental title on the line here. Gunther taking on The Miz. I thought, because I didn't know that these two had been feuding leading up to this. I thought the build to this was tremendous. I actually watched the hype video. Usually I skip them.
Yeah, same.
I thought it was really good. Them two on the mic, Gunther in a suit. I thought that was just great. That's great.
Yeah,
and I think
worked
they
well.
Talked people into those seats, as far as I'm concerned. Very good stuff. It's simple. It works. I love it. And I always felt like, the Miz hasn't had a decent storyline in like months. Like I haven't seen him on any of these pay-per-views or PLAs. So it's good that he got back in the hunt here. And the dynamic of seeing like someone like the Miz wrestle somebody like Gunther. It's interesting because now Miz has to kind of like up the ante with his physicality to show that, he can hang in there with Gunther. And just, how good was the psychology of this match and how good was like Gunther. He clearly thought that this was going to be slim pickings for him. But they told a story of like Miz was just getting the upper hand on him at every single turn. And what an awesome spot with the ripping off of the turnbuckle. And as the referee's putting the turnbuckle away, that field goal kick between Gunther's legs. I laughed so hard because it's like, Gunther, like you didn't realize how much of a little shit the Miz is, bro. Like you've totally overlooked in here. And the look at his face too. Fans were losing it. Skull crushing finale, 2 count. Fans losing it. They were in. They got them with this one. They hooked them. Soon after, though, Gunther retains with the Lion Tamer. That was another. See, look at Genji's, but another great IC title match from Gunther on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
He's nailing it. They wonder he's had the belt for so freaking long. And I also loved how Gunther looked a little bit bewildered after he got the victory.
Yeah, he's great at that. He's very good at. If you go back and watch like the WrestleMania Triple Threat, you go back and watch him in his marathon performance in the Rumble. You go back and watch him in his IC match against Chad Gable. He's very good at actually. He doesn't just perform the match. He performs the before, during, and after of the match very well. Yeah, I thought the match was absolutely incredible. I gave it an A-. I think this might have been one of the Miz's best matches of his career.
Yeah.
I think the psychology was tremendous. I love the fact that, I thought the commentators did a great job of discussing the fact that like Miz has been able to find a lot of success in WWE as one of the more entertainment-based heavy talents in the sports entertainment equation. And they really played up the fact that you can be successful being heavy on the sports side and you can be successful being heavy on the entertainment side. And now we have a clash between these two guys who both think that they represent the Intercontinental Championship and its legacy. And they're both from those opposing viewpoints of the wrestling business.
Yeah.
And I just thought that, so the Miz is rising toward and having to become more physical and stuff. He's throwing chops. He really took some brutal chops. There were a couple of times at the beginning of the match where, even though I appreciated what the commentators were trying to do, like they continually kept on talking at the beginning of the match to the point where they'd still be talking when Gunther would be throwing these big chops that make the big sound. And then they'd abruptly have to stop when the chop would happen so that they could react to how big it was and not kind of miss it. Then they'd start up again and then he'd throw another one. It's like, guys, just shut the fuck up for a minute. Let him
breathe. Let it breathe.
Let him throw some fucking chops and let us watch Miz gasp for air. Just fucking chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, they did a really good job. This was an incredible match. I think that the Miz's selling was perfect. I think that, okay, the women's War Games match, and this match here between the Miz and Gunther, already at this point, I was thinking this is the difference in quality in the agenting and the producing between WWE and AEW. And that's not even a knock on the booking or the talent in AEW. It's that you can see the producing and the thought that goes into it, because the Lion Tamer is not Gunther's finisher. He tries a number of things to beat Miz. He tries his power bomb. He tries his big boot. He didn't even go for his over-the-shoulder sort of Emerald Flosion usual finisher. It's almost like he didn't think Miz was worthy of having to use that move on. He ends up locking in the Boston Crab. Miz still isn't giving up. He only tapped when the knee was inserted into the back. And I loved that after Gunther walked out of the ring and he's got his title, it cut back in there and Miz is still selling, still with that look of agony on his face. He hasn't gotten up and tried to make himself look tough. He's still going, oh, my back is totally fucked. I just got destroyed. So incredible work. That's pretty much all I have to say. At this point, I was really enjoying this pay-per-view quite a bit.
Very nice, bro. Yes, I was too. So you know what? Let's move forward. Singles match: Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee. Before I guess is it your turn to talk?
Yes.
Yes, you go for it, bro. What did you think?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna award the match a B- because I thought it was tremendous. I liked the hype package. Santos Escobar, as with all good heel turns, he has a legitimate reason to turn heel. He's right. He is the one that brought back the LWO and recruited Zelina Vega into it. He's right. He wrestled Rey Mysterio for that United States title after they both ended up in the finals. And, Rey Mysterio won because he's the more experienced wrestler and they shook hands and all that. But Santos is the young up-and-comer. And what does Rey need with another United States championship, So he's turned heel because he has a good reason to do it. And exactly the same with the Drew McIntyre heel turn, which we can talk about a bit later. So I like the reason why he's turned heel. I like the fact that they substituted Carlito by having him for Dragon Lee, because what they've done is if they had to put the match against Carlito right here, I think it would have been a bit too soon because Carlito hasn't been on regular TV for long enough. But by having Dragon Lee sort of come in to the defense of Rey Mysterio, a performer he looks up to, Dragon Lee also happens to be an up-and-comer on the rise on WWE TV. So by putting him in this situation, you give Santos Escobar a credible opponent in this match without blowing your whole load of this Santos Escobar LWO feud all at once. I also thought that by making the opponent Dragon Lee, it added intrigue as to who was actually going to win the match, because I don't think Dragon Lee's been pinned on the main roster up to this point. I thought this was a really good match. I think it's obvious why they see a lot in Dragon Lee, but I think they also should see a lot in Santos Escobar because he was just being a heel. He was being a heel. He was being an absolute prick. He didn't want to fuck around with the fans. He just wanted to get his hand raised and have the glory all on himself. And that's all that it was about, because he's pissed off at the world and he's had enough. And that's what the idea of this match was trying to convey. And anyone out there that wants to say Dragon Lee shouldn't have lost this match, I think Dragon Lee personally is just going to be fine. I think that
People get so petty over the fucking someone losing a match, bro. Like, oh, there's another
Somebody
day around
has-
the corner.
if you think about it in the context of a real sport, like even the greatest basketball teams, any sports team in the world that you can think of, they lose games. They, shit stuff happens. Like,
Yeah, like remember when LA Knight lost a match to Rey Mysterio for like a shot at the US title or something? People are like, oh my god, they're burying him. Like it's just one match, bro. It's Rey Mysterio. Just fucking cool it, bro. Cool your jets. Is any of this getting any Juicy Boy recommendations? I haven't seen any of that so far.
I'd say the Miz and the Gunther match definitely gets a Juicy Boy recommendation. I'd also, I'd probably say that this the Santos Dragon Lee,
No,
it's not. Don't go out. It's actually not. Don't go. I rated it quite highly. No, it was good. It was good, but it's not quite at the level.
It's not. It's not going to get a Juicy Boy recommendation when you're pointing into the diagonal direction. Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Check it out if you want. But don't feel like you have to.
Maybe instead of a recommendation, maybe it's like maybe Juicy Boy nudge. Like you just don't. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. But let me talk a bit about this match. And this story. So he's turned his back on Ray. Okay, he's his hero. And this is Santos's big opportunity to rise through the ranks and be put over. He's got crazy with the jealousy over his hero. And he's done some dastardly acts to him. Trying to break his leg. Like, what's wrong? What kind of human being is this? He broke up with Zelina Vega. Then he kicked his friends from Legado del Fantasma to the curb. Then you enter Carlito into the fray. A lot of different moving parts here. Carlito into the fray. Then he takes out Carlito. This guy's lost his fucking mind, right? Then you insert Dragon Lee, okay? I'm liking that. And it's giving Dragon Lee a big opportunity here. This is like the biggest match of his career, right? His first ever WWE pay-per-view match. Fuck. Because after all their attempts at trying to make like new Latin stars, they tried it with Del Rio. That became what it became. They tried it with Sin Cara. I think they were trying it with Andrade. It just wasn't working for some reason, whether they just didn't like the way that they were being booked or they were Alberto Del Rio. So I think to myself, who needs an Andrade when you have a Santos, right? Ray can't be there forever. Sin Cara didn't work out, but Dragon Lee could be primed for that role. He could be that new Rey Mysterio, right? At some point, it's going to have to, some of these guys are going to have to retire. But I think Dragon Lee nailed it in this one because the fans chanted his name. When they started chanting his name on that bigger scale of pay-per-view, that made me think, okay, he's been accepted. This is where he's been accepted. First pay-per-view outing. Because I thought to myself, geez, he hasn't been on TV that long. Would every fan really know a lot about him at this point? So I thought it was a test for him, right? And this is the big thing for Santos now. Okay, this is big for him because now he's going to get out of the shadow. Now we're going to see what he's got if he's going to be ready for a higher spot in the company. I really like the finish, and it kind of gave him an easy victory almost, or a decisive victory, I might say. Right result, and I laughed that Santos immediately snatched his hand away rudely when the referee went to raise his hand, just such a prick.
That's what heels should do, though. It's just
don't touch me.
Should be.
So that's step one of getting Santos over as a heel. Go over Dragon Lee. Next, it will be to win a feud with Carlito. And I think they should hold off the Santos Rey Mysterio feud ending match to WrestleMania. Let's do hair versus mask. Count me in. Right, let's move forward. WWE Women's World title match here, bro. Rhea Ripley, Zoey Stark. So Zoey won a battle royal to face Ripley for the title one-on-one at Survivor Series, right? They bickered a couple of times backstage, and I don't think much else. Right?
Boring booking, by the way. Boring.
It's driving me mad, bro. Like this whole title reign of hers
Yeah.
No story, nothing exciting, no angles. They do this with the women all the time. I've said it before, I'll say it again. People just have these matches on pay-per-view because of some one contendership. Boring. Give me something. Give me something to sink my teeth into. I want to learn about Rhea Ripley. I want to see layers to the character. I know she's doing other stuff with the boys there in the Judgment Day, but come on.
What about Zoey Stark? You debut her on the main roster with Trish Stratus, and then
and with as far as
nothing.
Zoe's concerned, I mean, I'm yet to see the it factor from her. She's very athletic, but what does she do that others can't? What is it about her character that stands out to me? I can't tell you that. Maybe I, need a bit more context when it comes to her because I'm still kind of miffed as to how she's in this spot. And I'm not bagging on her, but I just feel like it's she won a battle royal by boring, man. Again, you know what? I don't think Zoe's a natural babyface. Because when you get to these near falls for her, she's just not likable. She's not likable enough or over enough with the fans in that way, because when she's going for those near falls, the fans aren't counting along. If you watch the match back, you'll notice they weren't counting along. But when Rhea went for a pin, you heard the fans counting along. I know that the fans really like Rhea, but I'm sorry, this is a bit of a miss with Zoe so far. They need to really think about how they want to portray her in the future if they want fans to get behind her. It doesn't help that we know who's winning this match going into it either. But yeah, Stark hit a German out of a riptide attempt from Ripley, and just again, the fans went with the count. Rhea then hit the riptide, and what do you know? The fans counted along. Rhea wins. There's a pop. She's supposed to be a heel. This is what it is. This is what happens when you throw random people into world title matches like that.
Not too much to say about it, bro. On my end, this was not very inspired booking. It's the kind of thing we'd criticize the other company for. So as usual, I'm not going to let WWE get away with it. They're doing really well in terms of booking Rhea Ripley as an individual character. They are not doing very well in terms of booking her championship reign. C+.
They're just struggling. They're struggling. That's why I always said, and always have said, they don't need 2 world titles for the women. They don't need them because they don't do any. There's no angles ever for those belts. It's just contendership. There's someone, please write a storyline where we get to learn about them, please. Right, let's get to our main event of the evening, bro. Men's War Games match. Drew McIntyre and the Judgment Day, Priest, Dominik, Balor, McDonough against Cody, Jay, Randy Orton making his return, Sami Zayn, and Seth freaking Rollins. Take it away, bro.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and give this match an A+. I thought it was a tremendous match. I actually really liked it. I thought that everyone in this match was tremendously over. I think that they've hit a home.
Tremendous enough times?
Yeah, I think it was a tremendous match. And I think they've done a tremendous job of getting Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, over as a babyface. And they've done a good job of, making Jimmy and Jay their own 2 distinct individual identities on either show.
It's tremendous.
But back to this match here, though, I really feel like they shut up. They went to a great deal of effort dovetailing several different things that were going on and have gone on over the past year and a half all into one match. This felt in some ways like a sequel to the War Games match last year. It felt in other ways like another chapter in the what's going on with the Judgment Day. And yet again, it also felt like another chapter in what's been happening with the Bloodline when you connect everything that was going on with Drew McIntyre agreeing to join the match on the Judgment Day's side in order to get his hands on Jey Uso. And I thought that was, Drew McIntyre looked good in this. His heel persona is much more interesting than what he was doing as a babyface.
Yeah.
Every single person in this match did really well. It's a shame that JD McDonough didn't get 1 or 2 extra little bits in here and there. I understand that he was kind of like, I expected him to be the sacrificial lamb for this match going in, and he was in almost a humorous way. He just got his ass whooped pretty much on all occasions. I think that there's no denying that Dominik Mysterio has it, and I'm starting to realize why he was signed and on the main roster, even though it for the longest time I didn't really see what the appeal was about him. I just thought he was like a taller, lankier version of his dad. But ever since he's had the feud with his dad, and even before that, really, ever since I guess him and his dad won the tag titles, and then from that point on through the heel turn, I've really started to see what even Vince, because might tend to forget, he was on the main roster for months and months and months, working underneath Vince McMahon, and he never got taken off TV. His gimmick never got changed. They never stopped pushing him and using him and stuff like that. And I think that it's obvious why now, because when he came into the match, not only does everyone enjoy booing him, but like he knows how to work. Like he starts doing the Three Amigos and all the Latino heat shit, and then realizes he's in the middle of this huge cage match, and like there's no one around him on his team. Like I really thought this was good. I saw some people in the r/squared circle saying that it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything outrageous.
Okay.
But I saw some people saying that they kind of thought that the ending was just everyone hits their finisher, and then like Randy Orton looked great when he came in for his bit and his flurry, but then everyone just kind of hit finishes and it was over. I can sort of see where that came from, but I think that it was the right decision to kind of end it on a high note, because the Chicago crowd was just so into everything, and they seemed to respond well to everyone. I think even if CM Punk had not come back, I think just the Randy Orton return on its own, which was advertised, was awesome. So Orton ends up finally coming back. His music hits. He looks tremendous.
Does he now?
Yeah, he's in tremendous shape. He hits a couple of tremendous power slams. He just, his footwork's tremendous, everything. And so he ends up getting the win. They're doing the whole celebration thing. The copyright logo comes up on the screen. I think the show is over. I was kind of a little bittersweet when the copyright logo, I was like, I guess Punk's not coming. Guess they're not doing, all right. Guess I didn't really expect him to show up, but it's still a pretty good show. But it's like, and then then his music hit, and the crowd absolutely popped, and I was like, yes, they've done it, man. They've turned this from like a really good show into a legendary show, because no matter what you think about CM Punk, they've continued the legacy of Survivor Series being controversial. They've continued the legacy of Survivor Series being a big thing for Punk. They've continued the legacy of the All-State Arena in Chicago being the home of notable Survivor Series moments. Mm-hmm. And it was also fitting that CM Punk also main evented an AEW pay-per-view in the same building the last time he was there. So there's so much about that Punk return that I liked. I heard the reports, like I think most did, about McIntyre storming angrily out of the building afterwards, and Rollins being pissed off to find that he was back, and people aren't really sure if that's kayfabe or work. I don't know. Whatever the case, I think that
it's a work.
What
do we get pissed off of that for? Like, what do we get that pissed off for?
Well, there's been rumors that a lot of people in WWE don't want him back either, same as AEW. And if that's the case, I have this to say, right? Like,
he would behave like that, though.
As a fan, I've got to say this. Like, if there's anyone in, those locker rooms that are thinking, God, we just don't want Punk here. It'll be so annoying for our outwork morale. Well, like, as a fan, I want to see him in there. So... he's going to be in there.
Oh, Sane.
Sorry, Like I think it's really petty and childish to be like, oh, it's just, we've all worked so hard in the time that he's gone, and things have changed so much around. He's just gonna walk back in and get another spot just like that. Yeah. Yes, that's what's happened. You just watched it happen.
Yeah. Watch his merch sales. We'll just watch the merch sales.
Like, honestly, I'm not even trying to be mean, but it's just the way that things happen. It's exactly the same thing Punk bitched about when The Rock came back in 2012 and all that shit. And The Rock got the main event of WrestleMania 29. And back then when that happened, I was saying, well, sorry, Punk, like, that's just
it's The Rock.
that's just what happens. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, and the same thing applies here, except Punk happens to be in that spot now. And it's the same thing. Sorry. Like, how do you think all the young guys in AEW feel watching Adam Cole, fucking Adam Copeland, Punk, Sting, person after person after person, like Bryan Danielson, just come in and just take up a spot that they thought they finally got it, and yet people are complaining that Punk's back in WWE. They've got room for Punk in there. It's not like they're going to have him dominating the title scene,
Exactly.
So yeah, that's my appraisal of that whole situation. That's pretty much all my thoughts on it. Yeah, A+ for the match. It was really good. And I might be enjoying some Punk hater tears later.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That'll be tremendous.
Yeah.
Now, so for my thoughts, okay. I'm going to try and keep this quick. So, JD McDonough should be pretty excited. It's his first pay-per-view, appearance or performance in the ring. I really liked the part where Finn Balor and JD went to work on Rollins with those two kendo sticks. I wouldn't have minded if they just tuned him up for the full 3 minutes, just shot after shot after shot after shot. But no, of course, he needs to catch one and try and pull it off him. Just like I was always trying to play a fucking video game when I got to hit them with a chair. After I've already hit them in the head with a chair several times, they managed to just snatch it off me. Fuck off, man. You just got to hit there with a chair. Anyway.
Trying to encourage you not to repeat the same move over and over again.
Yeah, just like you repeat the same word over and over again, which is tremendous.
Well, it's a tremendous word.
Shut up. Okay. When did this shit happen with Yeet? Why are we now, every time Jay punches someone, we have to yell out Yeet?
I don't know. I already don't really like it, though.
Can it just be a t-shirt? Does it have to be a thing now?
Yeah, for the next 20 years, all we're going to hear now every time someone throws, a Samoan throws an uppercut. Yeet! Yeet!
Yeah, Yeet. Yeet. And then they fight LA Knight and it's yeah.
Yeah, Yeet! Yeah, that's going to happen.
Stop enjoying yourselves.
Yeah, stop it.
Okay. The running Spanish fly has to be abolished. It must be abolished. It's always been shit.
And it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. But
Roderick Strong almost had his neck broken the other day.
I still haven't seen it yet.
And JD McDonough did it to Jey Uso in this one. And I'm like, oh, that was a close call, man. It wasn't flush. Yeah. Stop doing the running Spanish fly, okay? Physics clearly don't work with it. Someone's going to get badly hurt. All right?
Yeah, well, they do. Yeah, they don't really. It's just especially because Jay took that weird side over his shoulder flip when he took it.
It was a little bit strange, wasn't it? Anyway, a few more people entered this thing. I'm not doing the blow by blow. Okay, I don't need to tell everyone what happened. Watch the fucking match. You don't need me to do a blow by blow account. Okay,
it was a tremendous match.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's some nice stuff here. We're waiting for Randy Orton to come out. Cody and Rollins are barking at one another because they're still arguing if Randy's even going to show up. That's nice. Dom comes in. That's the shit we want to see. As soon as Dom comes in, the fans get fucking really... They hate him so much. It's great. This was really cool at one stage, right? They did this array of moves, one after another after another. It was a double choke slam on Cody and Sami. Oh no, there was a triple one, wasn't it? They had, yeah. I guess Rollins was in there as well. But McDonough after that hit a moonsault. Straight after that, Bella did the coup de grace, and straight after that, Dom hit a frog splash. I thought that was like really cool the way that they did that. And I love the Razor's Edge and Rollins through the table.
Yeah.
Again, though, I'm going to complain about this like I always do. Here comes Rhea Ripley. She's got the Money in the Bank briefcase of Damian Priest. And of course, the usual confusion from the referee causes the hesitation needed for Randy Orton to show up looking in great shape, right? Hang on. Before I talk about Randy, the referee ran out with Rhea Ripley. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. She knew exactly what the idea was. Otherwise, why is she running out there with her?
Just go out and ring the bell.
Just fucking ring the fucking bell, you fucking dickheads. Why does it have to be this every single time? Are you sure? Yes, I'm fucking sure.
Good job. Good job pointing that out. We can't let him get away with that. It's just silly. You know?
No, it happened last pay-per-view, bro.
It exposes the fact that the matches, that the cash-in's not supposed to happen by the fact that they don't immediately start the match. You're going to have
right?
to. Yeah.
Fuck, because like every time something happens, it's like, just stop doing it. Because what are the odds that something's going to happen every single time? Like, you whatever. Anyway, look, great to see Randy Orton back, bro. I was really excited to see him back, you know. A year and a half on the shelf. Looks great. Soon after this, you know, we've let the War Games begin. The RKO on McDonough as he was pushed off the top of the cage was fuck me. Great stuff.
Just sadistic, like feeding him.
What if, like, imagine, that's just such a bump to take. Like, imagine just hopping off and just like, just going all the way down there and he's going to catch you, but you're just going to smack right into the, bro. It takes a lot of balls. Wasn't happy with what they did after that, though. I think you could have just done the pin off that. Why do we need Cody to hit Damian Priest with the crossroads? Because I'm like, why are we pinning Priest here? Why are we pinning Priest? Why does he get pinned? I didn't agree with that. I thought McDonough should have taken the pin because he took the big move. But I guess they want to feature Cody. It's fair enough. So yes, now it's my turn to talk about CM Punk. Not really much to say though. I didn't see it coming. And it just, you know what? It makes me feel good to see the crowd go as bonkers as they did. And he walks out, and I'm like, man, you should have fucking been back here in the first place. You shouldn't bother with that other company. But now we get to try this again, okay? This is the second attempt now at the comeback. First time didn't work out because of a bunch of little fucking assholes fucking with his shit. And I'm not getting into it, but yes, it's their fault. It's not his fault. It's their fault because they instigated every single instance of drama. They instigated it. Fuck.
Yeah.
Look at the facts, cunt.
I had some dipshit on Facebook earlier.
Here we go.
Hang on.
Literally on the internet.
Literally telling me that Punk was, quote, a danger and a liability and that, you know, he needed to be fired and shit. It's just like, fuck off.
A danger.
Fuck off. Go away. Stop watching wrestling. We don't, you know, the fact that there are
wrong with these people.
Let me say this quickly, because the fact that there are fans out there who reacted to this and are honestly saying that they really were happy to never see Punk come back again into either major company annoys me. Like, he's a top name. He can still go. He still draws. It wasn't fair what happened to him in AEW. The idea that he wasn't welcome in WWE either. Like, get fucked. Like, sorry. You know, I would rather see CM Punk in a main event than Johnny Gargano or like Tommaso Ciampa. Sorry. I'm not sorry. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, there we have it, bro. I'm pretty chuffed by what we saw here.
Yeah, I think it was tremendous.
Yeah, it was true. It was tremendous. So okay. Final thoughts. Rating out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give Survivor Series 2023 an 8.5 out of 10.
Very good, bro. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. It was an all right show. I think Punk returning was obviously the biggest highlight for me. The men's War Games match was terrific, and I was into Santos Escobar's presentation. And obviously Gunther and Miz was pretty.
Yeah, I thought that was a great match, Gunther and Miz. Yeah,
I still think they could put 2 more matches on a show like this, but that's okay. It's all right. I know that the 2 War Games matches were quite long, but this show went 2 hours 47 minutes. Could have had another 13-minute match in there or something, but that's all right. Not a big deal.
You know what? I'd rather have it be just under 3 hours than be 4.5 hours. So
yeah, that's true. That's fucking true. Like I'd rather that.
Keep it at the 2:45.
Yeah, thank you. Is good. Thank you. I appreciate it, WWE. Thank you. I wish some other people out there might fucking get it through their thick skull that they don't need 5-hour fucking pay-per-views. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, and just before we go, bro, we'd be remiss to say that Survivor Series 2023 ran parallel to Collision. AEW Collision, of course, is always on Saturdays, but Rampage was also moved to Saturdays in a block with Collision that would directly run against Survivor Series.
Nice try.
And I'd like to say I'd be very curious to see what those ratings are. And for everyone out there that loves AEW, I hope that you really enjoyed your little Collision episode and your little episode of Rampage. With your favorites on there.
Calling it little is so like condescending.
And I hope you enjoyed watching the half-empty arena bleachers and everything like that for weeks and weeks to come.
The agenda.
No. I'm trolling just to be a dickhead. But seriously, Survivor Series was actually a pretty good show. I honestly do wish AEW would recapture some of the goodness that I felt it had, a year ago, or even it just seems like things have fallen so far off for them and things are cooking for WWE right now. So
yeah, it's exactly it, bro. It feels like things are cooking. It feels like over there it's just a fucking mess. It's just a mess.
It doesn't have to be. It can be good. They have people there.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna get into it too much, but the one other thing I wanted to say, because this was my final thought that I thought when I saw CM Punk come out there, and also Randy Orton's back. I'm thinking, like, does WWE even need someone like MJF? Like, do they need him? Because they've already got the Miz there, but they've got Punk now. They got Orton back. Like the top of the card. I wrote this down somewhere. The top of the card is pretty stacked as far as like your main event type guys are concerned. All those guys that are on the cusp of the main event that haven't won a world title yet, like LA Knight, Cody, Sami, Damian Priest, Jey Uso, and then you've got people rising up through the ranks like a Santos Escobar that's only just starting to, we're only just starting to learn about him. You got all these people, and it just makes me think: do we need like Gunther? He hasn't been in the main event scene yet. Do we need MJF? Do they need him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, a few years down the line, they might. I don't really think that though. I don't really think that WWE is going to be hurting for main event people, like for a while, because you still have people down like Bron Breakker and stuff like that are still down in NXT that are going to be coming up. And then you got people like Baron Corbin that are down there now that could always come back up.
Absolutely. It's just, I don't know, it's just a random thought that came to mind. And if I were him, I'd be like, oh God, are they going to be offering me a big time contract? Because just for my thoughts, like I don't need him because I think they're doing just fine. So thank you, Juicy Boy, for
no worries
enjoying this show with me.
No worries, and thank all of you out there, and let us know in the comments below what you thought of Survivor Series 2023, what you thought of War Games, and what you thought of CM Punk's return at the end of the show. And until next time, we will see you down the road. Tremendous.
Should we leave this in the review?
Yeah.
What's wrong with us? What are we doing?
I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, fuck you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.